Should you hire a vocal coach? I'm going to say you probably should. I'm going to give the reasons why I think you should, what it's going to benefit you or how it's going to benefit you. And I'm going to give you some of my experience, things I wish I had done or maintained earlier, and things I'm doing now. And then I'm going to show a short clip of something that was a challenging vocal part for me to sing that I've been working on in the past couple months with my vocal coach. And I think you'll see in this video that I achieve a relatively effective delivery of this performance. This was from a few weeks ago. I've improved it since and plan to continue doing that. So, vocal coaching. Let me tell you about songwriters and vocal coaching. A lot of times songwriters don't take the time to do that. What they'll do is they'll spend money on gear, on guitars, on speakers, on microphones, on anything else but vocal coaching. It becomes an afterthought, and it shouldn't be. So, 3 reasons why vocal coaching, well, how I view it as important, and you might want to consider it as well. First, your voice is an instrument. So in the same way that you practice your guitar or piano or whatever instrument you play, your vocals are a piece of that total musicality. So you need to think about that because it's going to help you convey the story that you want to convey. And it's going to be noticed. It's not that you have to become, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey kind of runs and that kind of stuff, but if you can have a few more options. So anyways, that's the first thing. It's an instrument. The second thing is, as I was alluding to, it helps you tell your story. So it's part of the overall package. If you can do more with your voice, if you can deliver with more emotion, if you can deliver with better pitch, all of those things that kind of wrap into it, it's going to help you convey your story as a songwriter better. And once again, I have great songwriters that I love that aren't known for their amazing vocal prowess, but they work within the context of their voice to deliver the best performance they can. People like Chris Christopherson, or people bring up Bob Dylan and his voice, whether or not I think he could do much more with his voice than he lets on or he has at different times. So he has command of his voice. He knows what he's doing. And then the last thing is, the third option is that improving your vocal delivery gives you more options. It's not that you have to use those options in every song. It's not that you have to belt high or be able to go as low as possible. You may stay within a safe range, but the options are there, and if you have those options, really it can lend itself to, well, of course, a much better performance when you're live and in front of people or when you're recording, but it gives you greater confidence, and that can lend itself to stage presence, and you just have more options to draw from. So those are the 3 primary reasons that I tell people to really work on their voice. And if I'm being 100% honest, my voice, like with many songwriters, was a back burner item. I started playing out a lot more in 2006, 2007. Now, I did have a chance to do some vocal coaching back then with a guy named Satyam Patel, and the first experience I had with vocal coaching was this. He was running a group session, and somebody said, you should check this guy out. He uses a method called speech level singing. And whatever method you go with, just make sure it fits with what you're trying to accomplish. I'm not going to kind of do a review of X method versus Y method. But somebody said, go check him out. And it was a group session. And so people were coming in there to kind of get an hour. I think he was doing a couple hours, a free session. And it's a way for him to promote what he was doing at his voice studio. And I went there with this thought in mind. And this mindset might be how you want to approach your own opportunity to take a vocal coaching session. Maybe you get a free session with somebody, or a group session, something like this. I walked into it saying, if there's an opportunity for him to ask for volunteers, I'm going to be the first hand that goes up. I'm going to commit, regardless of how uncomfortable I may be in front of a group. I'm going to commit to having an opportunity to work with him and me directly. I don't care if there were people around there. So sure enough, we got to this session. There were several people there that I knew were great vocalists, people I had seen perform, some church soloists. It was really a little bit intimidating, to be honest, but I had made this commitment, and the moment he said, if somebody would like to volunteer, my hand was up before he finished the sentence. And so he picked me. And he said, well, what do you want to sing? I came there with no preparation, no idea of what I wanted to do, and I was like kind of hemming and hawing, and he said, let's just try Happy Birthday. And I started, and he goes, okay, just sing Happy Birthday. And I went like this, happy birthday to you. And he stopped me. He started laughing. He goes, boy, I can already see you are protecting your upper register. You don't want to go there. And so you know when you're going to go up and pitch in that song, you want to make sure you've given yourself a lot of safe space that you don't have to stretch. You don't have to go into any falsetto or any kind of bridge of your voice, any of the where you might switch into falsetto or get some cracks. And so he goes, no, we're gonna do something different. We're gonna start here. And he moved me up in the key, and it was super intimidating, and I couldn't do the, happy birthday to, happy birthday dear. I couldn't get to the high note based on where he started me. And he said, okay, let's do a couple things. And he gave me a few exercises right there in front of the group. And once again, I was nervous. I knew these other people were much better vocalists than I was, but I had committed to it. But the amazing thing is, the exercises he gave me in that one short 15-20 minute session dramatically changed what I was able to do. And that was just in one session. It was eye-opening to me. And sadly, I didn't maintain that over time. Any number of reasons. We moved and our house got destroyed in the flood and all that fun stuff. But I'd since connected with Satyam, and we've had a few sessions together. So that was my first real experience with vocal coaching. My next one was watching my youngest. We attended the Performing Arts High School. She wanted some additional vocal coaching outside of what the school was teaching her. That was her main instrument, was voice. And we found a guy named Ross Chitwood in Hollywood, wonderful instructor. And so I started taking lessons from him as well. And he really expanded my horizons. And then I moved back north of there. It just didn't make sense for us to continue coaching there. And I didn't do any more coaching. COVID hit, I stopped performing out more, and all those things came kind of as a confluence. And then, a confluence of items that kept me from continuing my coaching. But then the next thing that occurred is, back in October, I began to take a deep dive into producing and engineering my own music in a more serious way, really jumping into understanding that process. And right around that time, I got a phone call out of the blue. And it was a guy named Leo Meza. He's allowed me to talk about him here. So Leo was the first vocal coach that my youngest ever had before she attended the Performing Arts High School. As a matter of fact, I would say that Leo is what prompted her to want to go to a Performing Arts High School and take her voice to the next level. He gave her the confidence to do that. And he's really just a great guy. From the time I met him, I liked him. Gentle, kind soul, but funny, and could really push to make you improve your vocals. We did like one session together, but my daughter did several, and it opened up really opportunities for her. So we moved to downtown. I fell out of touch with Leo. So when I got this call, it's been nearly 10 years since we've interacted in any way, but I still have his number in my phone. I said, Leo? And he said, Matt, I'm reaching out. It's kind of part of my therapy, recovery. And come to find out that Leo I wrote about this in my Substack, so if you've read my Substack, you already know this, but Leo, a couple years ago, began to feel odd, left side of his body, said, I think I need to go to the hospital. On his way there, his vision just started to close up. He was having a stroke. He got to the hospital, and his vision was completely gone, and he is now blind, and there's really no chance that his eyesight is coming back. I mean, I can't say that given the way science is moving. Who knows? Maybe they can do some gene therapy and some other things to recover that. But as it currently stands, he's blind. And he was reaching out to people he had felt were relatively safe people because he experiences some challenges while he was recovering. And he also wanted to move back into vocal coaching. He was doing a little bit, but he's like, oh, just letting you know, and this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to reach out as a way to get used to reaching out more and more. And I said, well, you know, as it turns out, my girlfriend and I were talking about me getting some additional vocal coaching, so I'd love to take a session with you. And so we drove out there and met with him. I let him hear what I was doing. He said, you know, you've got power and you've got way more range than you think. And he began working with me, and it's been eye-opening. And I remember maybe my third session there, because I wasn't really doing the practices he had me, you know, he wanted me to do midweek between our sessions. I did a little bit, but I really wasn't consistent day by day. And also doing warm-ups and things like that, which I've always avoided for some strange reason. Just taking 10 minutes and warming up your voice before you're going to perform or record really is helpful. But I wasn't taking it seriously, and I went there one day and we had a really good session. I went out to the car and I was annoyed with myself. I spent a lot of time being annoyed with myself. And I said, I need to commit to this. If this is part of what I do, if this is part of what I do as an artist, is use my voice to convey a message. If I want to get the best, most emotive, most, I don't know, impactful delivery of my vocals on a recording or live, I need to take it as seriously as I do my guitar playing and any gear I could ever buy. As a matter of fact, more so, because strong vocals with just a guitar and you can carry a room. And I know, I've done it the last few weeks because I'm performing live a lot more, and it's really worked out really well. I've gotten great response and great feedback, and I plan to continue that. So I said I need to commit to this, and since then I took it, you know, even more seriously, to say I need to do my vocal warm-ups. I got a neti pot because I sometimes have, you know, congestion and postnasal drip. If you haven't used a neti pot, it's not like being waterboarded. That's what somebody said to me. It's really can just help you clear your nasal cavities and get you more resonance, and, you know, honestly, postnasal drip can limit your upper range, your upper register, and your options once again. So I took all this very seriously, and you know, it was funny because Leo at one point sent me a message saying, hey, I appreciate you coming out. I know that you could hire a vocal coach who isn't blind. And I was like, I don't know what, you know, I called him. I'm like, Leo, you're a great vocal coach. You've given me more confidence than I've ever had with my vocals. You know, since then, you know, we're working on brand new songs. He just sent me a text and said he wants me to learn Tennessee Whiskey because there are some vocal runs there he wants me to work on. And I appreciate that because he wants to stretch me. When I don't work on what I should, he calls me out on it and says, this is something you could do. Let me show you. And even with this clip that I'm going to show you of Zach Brown's Highway 20 ride, when I said, I don't know if I can reach those notes with any power. And he said, well, I want to show you something. And he got on the piano and he showed me that I was reaching 3 or 4 notes above that and not having a problem. And I was like, oh, I already hit that note and I don't have a problem with it. But for whatever reason, I had a mental hang-up about it. So him showing me that, look, you've already surpassed that. This is not an issue for you. So now you just have to work on it. And we've worked on it a bit last week because there were some pieces of it, and you'll see in the video, where I didn't reach the kind of the strength or the solidness of the vocal. I hit the note, I wasn't pitchy, but I just wasn't hitting it the way I wanted to. It was a little bit constrained. In any case, we continue to work on that. So I'll show you this clip, and then we'll end up, and I'll give you kind of my final thoughts on getting vocal coaching as a songwriter.
Ooh, 20 rides, Highway 20 rides, and I ride. Woo! Ooh.
So you can see there in that one clip, what was kind of cool about it is I ended pretty strongly. I got a response from people that were watching both right at the moment I did that one big vocal part and I maintained it. I had to really think about that before I did it. I had to sit there and prep knowing, okay, I've got to carry this note all the way through, make sure I get my breath beforehand. And to be honest with you, when I did it that time, that was the first time I've ever performed that live, I was nervous. I had to think about it. I think that's in part why that second little raised voice part, not the final one, but the second one, was challenging for me, is because I was nervous. I was holding back. I really, coming up to it, I almost thought in my head, I'm just not going to carry that note up there. I'm just going to end it with just kind of in that lower register and not try and reach that note. But I said, and this is all going in my head while I'm performing, which shouldn't be the case, right? You should be focused on the performance. But I said, no, I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to try and deliver this. That's what I'm here for. And I was really thankful I did. Last week I did the same song, got a big response. Once again with that final, it adds a lot to that song. And when I've seen people even do it online, I see them kind of shy away from maintaining that long kind of high note on the last little piece there. And I have yet to do a performance video of it. I probably will at some point. But when I do, I will commit to doing that. I will commit to getting my breath, ensuring that I can carry it all the way out and bring the run back down to where it needs to be to end the song. So if you've ever wondered whether you should do vocal coaching, I'm going to strongly suggest that it would be a powerful addition to whatever you're doing as a performer. Thanks.
My friends, they keep telling me, man, you sure handle it well. Conveniently, they overlook when I slip into my hell. Close the world out and don't return their calls for days. Emerge baptized in memories and exercised of my rage. Oh, Marie, this is one thing you can't take away. My pain is a labor of love, it's what's left